Healing through generations. So now we have really started identifying the themes of our family system. So today I'm going to walk you through healing through the generations. As you recognize the themes and understanding more of free will is not free, and that a lot of times your destination or the things that you are doing on a daily basis is really predicated off your family system and how they lived life. Unless you've done the healing work and you are okay with the guilt and shame that you're doing something different than your family system. So today we're going to talk about how you can start healing. So something you can do is really look at your parents. Your parents gave you the best gift possible from a soul level, which is life. I understand that sometimes parents don't always have the best intentions for their children, and that you do get harmed and there is pain and there is trauma based off the choices that your parents made for you and how they parented you. So I'm never negating the experience that you've had at a flesh level with your parents, but at the soul level, your parents chose to have you, which is the best gift possible. So one of the things that you can start doing is honoring your parents at the soul level. Yes, there may be chaos, turmoil, and conflict with your parents at the flesh level, but honoring them and saying, you gave me the best gift possible and I thank you. And you can kind of put it into those words. At the flesh, you might not really desire to be around your parents, but at the soul level, you're here because of them. So just start with that and saying, thank you. Thank you for giving me my life. That's all. Or however you want to communicate that. You don't have to say it to them, but you can wake up in the morning and really just thank them. So number one is honoring your parents at the soul level for giving you the best gift possible. That's one. How you can start healing through how you can heal generations in front of you and behind you. Number two, it's really recognizing how you may be positioned in your family. So when we think about your parents are supposed to be behind you, and your grandparents are supposed to be behind your parents, and so on. And a lot of times, there are children that are behind their parents. And so essentially they're in their grandparents' role. And when they're in their grandparents' role, they're parenting the parent. And when you parent the parent, there's so much that gets out of whack. So if you're somebody who's parented your parent, a lot of times there are things that you're missing because you stepped into another role for the sake of your family system, for the sake of your parent, for the sake of your mother, for the sake of your father, because you thought that that was something you should be doing when actuality, you shouldn't. You should not be in that role. And if you catch yourself in that role, a lot of times you will be in a relationship with somebody that is acting as a kid, and they'll never really step up as a individual, an adult, and you won't be in an adult relationship. If you're in an intimate relationship, you will be in a parent-child relationship with your partner, and that causes chaos. And a lot of times people who have parented their parent, a lot of times they're exhausted. They like to be in control of the control. They don't know how to have healthy relationships with people because a big chunk of their life, they have parented the parent, and that's all they know how to do. And so it can be very difficult to get out of that role, because if your parent is still alive, your parent wants you to be their parent because their parent cannot show up for them. So you can work on, one, getting out of the role of being your parent's parent. And so what does that look like? That can look like showing up for yourself, the kid you. Thinking about what would the kid you want to do. So I like riding bicycles. In any city that I go to, I want to get on the bicycles. And there's a city that I go to that I ride the bicycles in the street, around the monuments, and I have fun and I become a child, and I get to interact with my inner child and give my inner child whatever she needs. So if you're somebody that is behind your parents, I ask you to remove yourself and put yourself in front of them. And you can simply do this by creating like a family tree or creating a genealogram, or you can do this with some paper, some shoes, and you can put your shoes, right, in front, like a triangle almost. So you're at the point of the triangle, the tip of the triangle, and then your parents are behind you. And then behind your parents are their parents, right? Your grandparents, your dad's parents. Behind your mom is their grandparent, is your grandparents. And just notice and witness what that feels like. And so as you're doing that, you're going to stand in your position and you're going to turn around and look at your parents' feet, their footsteps. And you're just going to notice and witness what that feels like. How does it feel being in that space? And you can thank your parents for being your parents. And if you've had to parent your parent, you want to say that I am your child, you are my parent, and I am going to stay in the child's role and thank you for being my parent, and I'm going to be your child. And just notice and witness what that feels like. And actively forcing yourself into the child's role is very important for your own healing, one, important for your parents' healing and your family system, because before that, your family system was out of order. And what does that look like? So for me, there are times that in my family system growing up, I am the youngest, but my parents looked at me as the oldest. Yeah. So as they looked at me as the oldest, that's not my birth order. So there's some things that they wanted me to do that in reality, from an energetic perspective and order, my brother should have been doing that. And so as there's this burden of being the oldest when I'm not, then my family system is out of order. So there's responsibilities that I took on that was for my brother, a man, a boy at that time, that I'm a girl. And so I was stepping into my masculinity at times that I should have been stepping into my feminine traits. And so growing up, I was a tomboy. I felt comfortable in that space, but that's because my family system was out of order. It's not saying it was wrong that I'm pointing my fingers at my parents, but it's just of how it was. And so when I had to start shifting and moving and understanding that that's not my place and that's my brother's place, then I found my place in being the youngest and being the daughter. That there's some things that I would want to do, but I can't do it because I'm stepping on the toes of my brother. And also my parents are asking something of me that's not me, that's not mine to do. So in understanding your family themes, understanding how they dictate, and also understanding how they really influence the way you interact with people. So something that happened to me was, all right, I would want to be in a relationship, but I was leading with my masculine. A lot of times Black women, and I'm going to speak to Black women and brown women, we lead with our right side, which is our masculine side. And it's not healthy because guess what? You're imbalanced. If you're leading with your masculine side is not tapping into your feminine, then you're off. The yin and the yang is off. There's not a balance. There's times that we need to lead with our masculine, and there's nothing wrong with that, but we have to have a balance. And for me, I was imbalanced. I was leading with my right all the time, and I was not nurturing my left, which was my feminine. So once I decided to be in my rightful place and understanding that and doing the healing work and acknowledging my brother's place and not trying to step in his lane and acknowledging my parents and that, hey, you were putting a lot on me that wasn't mine, then the family system started to balance out. So understanding what roles you're in, and that sometimes from a previous generation, you can be taking on the characteristics of another family member. It could be the excluded one. It could be the one that died early, and that you are taking on the fate of, let's just say your father died early and things had happened and you are taking on the fate of your father and not realizing that you're actually going into death because your father passed away early. You're not living your destiny. And you just have to understand your family system needs to be in order. And when you get into relationships, a lot of times that partner is really there to get your family system back in order. So I want you to think about that. It might be like going over your head right now, but guess what? Come back to it. It's always going to be here for you. But it's understanding how your family system anchors you in ways that you didn't know that they do. And so it's, how do you understand that? How do you play with that? How do you move with that so you can heal, the generation in front of you can heal, and the generation behind you can heal? So that's how you can start healing the generations of your family, by acknowledging, one, your parents, them giving you the best gift possible, which is life, because you are phenomenal. Two, understanding the system and understanding if you're out of order. So are you parenting the parent? There's something that you can't do. You can't parent the parent. If you are best friends with your parent, or you feel that your mother or your father are like your siblings, then I gotta tell you, things are out of order. It's gonna be hard to be in relationships where they're just for you and they meet your needs because your family system is out of order. And that's how you can really work on healing those generations. So I just want you to think about that. So my call to action for you is, hey, the mantra, you could use it as a mantra or intention of just honoring your parents for giving you the best gift possible. I understand that life may have been hard with your parents, but guess what? You're here to bless the world with your gifts. So just thank them at a soul level, not a flesh level, that you're here because of them. There would have been no other possible way for you to be here. Two, see if you are out of order. See if your family system is out of order. If you are in positions that you shouldn't be in. Did you parent your parent? Did you show up for them? And so we're trying to get you to be able to live the best life possible and really get your family system in order so you can live life the way you desire, not by the way your family system wants you to live. Sometimes there are things that you're going to do that are honoring your family system, and it's nothing wrong with that. And so you can get a piece of paper, you can get paper to represent their footsteps, and just notice and witness what it feels like standing in your space, looking at your parents, turning around and looking at them, and thanking them, and then standing in their footsteps and looking at you, and just embody that feeling. And we're all about healing these generations so you can live life the way you need to. I will see you next time, and stay tuned.